The mixer had been going for 2 hours before anyone touched me. I want to say that again because it matters. 2 hours. On a station full of 11 different species, all curious about humans, all trying so hard not to stare, and somehow every single one of them managed to keep a polite distance the whole time. Except one. His name was Vos Kalen, a Vraxel trade envoy, tall and soft-looking, with 4 arms and skin like brushed silver. The Vraxel came from a gentle world. I had read about it on the transport ride over. Mild seasons, no large predators. Gravity so light that their bones grew thin and their movements grew slow, careful, unhurried. They were, by every measure I understood, a peaceful people. I was there because someone in the diplomatic office decided that a real human should be present at these events, not just recordings and reports. I did not love the idea. I am not built for small talk. I am built for other things. I grew up on HFY Colony, a world humans call a Deathworld, though we just call it home. Heavy gravity, storms that peel roofs off in minutes, predators the size of transport shuttles that hunt in the dark using sound instead of sight. By the time I was 6 years old, I already knew how to break a grip, roll out of a fall, and get back on my feet before my body finished registering pain. It was not bravery. It was just what you learned if you wanted to keep living there. None of that mattered at the mixer. I stood near the drink station, holding a glass of something fizzy and blue, watching aliens flinch every time a tray clattered, or a door hissed open too fast. I found it a little funny, if I am honest. Not cruel funny, just strange. On my world, a loud noise meant you moved. Here, it meant you apologized for existing too loudly. Vos approached me near the end of the second hour. He smiled the way Vraxel smile, all 4 of his hands folded politely in front of him. "Miss Vos," he said, his translator giving his voice a soft, rounded tone. "The delegation would like a photograph. If you would come this way, and here is the part I still think about." He reached out and took hold of my arm. Not hard, not violent. If you saw it on a recording, you would probably say it looked gentle, even friendly. A guiding touch, the kind people use to steer someone through a crowded room. On his world, it probably was exactly that, a polite gesture, nothing more. But my body did not know that. My body did not care about intentions. On HFY, an unexpected hand on your arm means one thing. Something has grabbed you, and if you do not respond immediately, you are already losing. There is no pause to think it through. No moment to consider context. Your nervous system makes the decision before your mind even catches up. Because on my world, hesitation is how you disappear. So when his fingers closed around my wrist, I moved. I do not remember deciding to do it. I remember the shape of the motion more than the thought behind it. Wrist turning into the grip instead of away from it. Weight shifting, elbow rotating past the point it was built to bend. It happened in under 2 seconds. It probably looked almost lazy from the outside, like I barely moved at all. There was a sound. Sharp, small, the kind of sound a stick makes when it snaps clean in half. Then silence. Real silence. The kind that swallows a whole room at once. Vos made a noise I had never heard from a Vraxel before, something between a gasp and a whistle, and folded forward, cradling his arm against his body. 2 of his aides rushed toward him. A nearby security officer, some kind of insectoid species I did not recognize, went completely rigid, antennae flattening against its head like it was bracing for an explosion. I stood there with my glass still in my other hand, blue liquid slightly sloshed over my fingers, and felt the entire room turn to look at me. For one long moment, nobody moved. I want to be honest about what I felt in that moment, because it was not panic, and it was not pride. It was something closer to embarrassment, mixed with a strange, distant calm, like watching myself from a few feet away. Part of me was already running the old checklist from home. Assess the threat, check your footing, look for the next danger, even though there was no threat here. There never had been. Just a man reaching for my arm at a party. I set my glass down slowly, palms open, and took a step back so nobody would think I was about to do it again. "I am so sorry," I said, and I meant it completely. I didn't mean to hurt him. I reacted before I thought about it. The security officer did not relax. Its head tilted, studying me the way you might study a wire you were not sure was still live. Someone from the human delegation, an older diplomat named Reyes, who I had only spoken to once before, walked over with the calm, unhurried pace of a man who had seen this exact situation before. He glanced at Drivos, then at me, then let out a small breath that was almost a sigh. "Grabbed her arm?" he asked, not really needing an answer, because he could already read it in the room. "Yes," I said. "Yeah," Reyes said, shaking his head slightly, like this was a familiar, slightly tiresome story. "Don't do that, ever, to any of us." That was it. No shock in his voice, no alarm. He said it the way you might tell someone not to leave milk out on a warm day. A mild, practical warning, delivered without any real surprise that it needed to be said again. A few other humans nearby nodded along, murmuring things like, "Yeah, that's a rookie mistake," and "Someone really should put that in the welcome packet," before turning back to their conversations like nothing dramatic had happened at all. That reaction, more than the injury itself, seemed to unsettle the room even further. I could see it happen in real time. Delegates from 3 or 4 different species glancing at each other, then back at the casual, unbothered humans standing around, then back at me. It was one thing to witness an accident. It was another thing entirely to realize that the people around the person who caused it did not consider it an accident so much as an expected outcome. I knelt down near Drivos, moving slowly this time, hands visible the whole way. His aides tensed, but did not stop me. "I need to look at his arm," I said. "I have training. I can help stabilize it until your medical team arrives." One of the aides, a smaller Vraxel with pale blue markings, hesitated, then nodded. Basic field medicine was mandatory training back home, the same as swimming or fire safety might be somewhere else. On Ashfall, you learned how to splint a break before you learned long division, because breaks happened, and help was often hours away. I checked Drivos's arm carefully, keeping my touch light. The joint had bent further than it should have, but nothing looked torn beyond repair. He would need proper medical care, but the damage was not permanent. I felt a small, quiet wave of relief at that. I had not wanted this. Not any part of it. "I am truly sorry," I said again, softer this time, meeting his eyes. It was not an attack. It was reflex. Where I come from, an unexpected hand on someone's arm can mean something dangerous is happening. My body reacted to protect me before I understood what was actually happening. Drivos studied me through the haze of discomfort, his breathing slow and careful. "Your reflex," he repeated, testing the word. "This is normal. For you?" "For where I grew up, yes," I said. "It's not something we choose. It's something we're trained into, from a very young age, because our world does not give us many chances to learn slowly." "What kind of world?" he asked quietly. "Teaches a child to break an arm without thinking." I considered how to answer that honestly, without making it sound like a boast, because it was not one. "A world where hesitation gets you killed," I said, "where the ground can turn against you, where storms come without warning, where things bigger than you hunt at night by sound. You learn to move first and understand later, because later might not come if you wait." The room had gone quiet enough that my voice carried further than I meant it to. I noticed more delegates leaning subtly closer, listening. "We are taught the opposite," Drivos said, wincing as the station's medical team finally arrived and began easing him onto a stretcher. "Patience, stillness, trust. I think that's beautiful," I said, and I meant that too. I mean it. A world gentle enough to raise people like that is rare, and it should be protected, not judged for being soft. My world just did not have that luxury. It made us differently. Not better, just differently. He gave a small, pained laugh as the medical team lifted the stretcher. "I will remember this lesson, perhaps announce myself more clearly, next time, before touching a human." "That would help," I said, managing a small smile. "A lot, actually." As they carried him away, the room slowly came back to life, conversations restarting in uneven, cautious bursts. I stood up and became aware, all at once, of just how many eyes were still on me. Not hostile eyes exactly, something more complicated than that, careful, recalculating. A Threll delegate, small and covered in soft blue fur, approached me with visible caution a few minutes later, keeping several careful steps of distance between us the entire time. "That was fast," she said, her voice trembling only slightly. "I did not see you move until it was already finished." "I'm sorry you had to see that," I said. "It's not something I'm proud of." No, no, she said quickly, holding up two small paws. I only meant, is this common? Among your people? I thought about how to answer honestly. Not the injury part. We don't go around hurting people we meet. But the reflex, yes. Most of us have it, to different degrees, depending on where we grew up. Some worlds are gentler than others, even among humans. Mine was not gentle. And your leaders allow you to attend gatherings like this? Around others? She asked, glancing toward the door Drivos had been carried through. We're not dangerous on purpose, I said. We just don't startle well. If people don't grab us, or come at us suddenly, we're honestly very easy to get along with. Most of us love company. We love talking, sharing meals, learning about other worlds. We just need a little warning before anyone touches us. That's all it takes. She considered that for a long moment, tail curling slightly around her feet, and then, carefully, extended one small paw toward me, palm up, in an obvious, deliberate, telegraphed gesture. May I? She asked. I smiled, genuinely this time, and reached out slowly to meet her paw with my open hand. You may, thank you for asking. Her fur was impossibly soft, and her paw trembled slightly in mine, though I do not think it was entirely from fear anymore. Something in her posture had eased, just slightly, like she had tested a theory and found it held. Word of what happened spread through the rest of the gathering faster than any formal announcement could have managed. I noticed the shift almost immediately. Every alien who approached me afterward did so with hands visible, movements slow, always announcing themselves before getting close. Not out of cold fear exactly, more like the careful respect you might give a fire that keeps you warm but demands attention. Near the end of the night, a young Threll delegate leaned away from me instinctively as I passed, then caught himself and offered an awkward, apologetic wave instead. I waved back, unbothered, and watched him relax, just a little, when nothing happened. I thought about Ashfall then, about the storms and the sounds in the dark, and the long nights spent learning how to survive a world that had never once been gentle with any of us. I thought about how strange it was, standing in this quiet, careful room full of soft-spoken, peaceful beings, all of them a little wary of me. We were not monsters. None of us wanted to be feared. We were just the only people in the room who had needed to survive our own world before we ever got the chance to leave it.